Yo, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy ColtsTalk. We're back with a video, and today is the official last preview of the season. It's a division game against the Houston Texans, and my goodness, it's been a season. Am I right? Like we've been on this road for a very long time. The ups and downs, and the headaches, the coaching firings, the QB position changes. All of this is coming to an end, and it's finally over after this game against the Texans. It's going to be the last one, and you know what? I hope the Colts can win this game. I'm not going to lie to you. Of course, it might mess with our draft lottery order, but we'll get more into that later on in the future of what they could possibly do if they wanted to actually go out there and get some talent or who may not be available. But I want this Colts to win the game because I want them to end the season with some type of pride and commitment and energy moving forward going into next year, because this year's been rough. It really has. It started off with a tie, and then it just hasn't moved any way of type of field, like no progress towards the end of the year. We beat easy teams like the Raiders, we beat the Broncos, but this year has just been very bad. This is one of the worst seasons I've ever experienced as a Colts fan. So like this whole quarterback carousel that we've been through with Matt Ryan, Sam Ellinger being in there for a few days. Like I went to go see him in person. That was fun, even though they lost in the end. But they've been I would say at the beginning of the year they fought a lot of games. They really did. They fought in a lot of games, but just couldn't pull it off in the end. Then we lost Frank Reich as the head coach, which we thought, we had our opinions on that situation. We wish the best for him. Hopefully he finds a coaching job somewhere else. I'm pretty sure he will, especially with the coaching jobs that are about to be open. There's going to be plenty of teams looking for a head coach, and I'm pretty sure he can find one with no question. But this team, for sure, man, we have all the talent in the world on the defensive side, but the offense has probably been one of the worst offenses in NFL history. And I say that with all due respect. I mean that to be completely honest. I think this was one of the worst offenses in NFL history. I mean, you can probably Google, probably say someone, a team that was worse. You can mention a few Dolphins teams, but this Colts team is definitely probably top 10. So I definitely think this was one of the worst. Especially with the talent that we had. We mentioned the destruction of the offensive line and how poorly they played, but they improved. I would say the offensive line got better over the weeks. They finally made the changes that need to be made, but hopefully they can figure that out going into next season as well. The wide receiver room, they were still developing and learning. They'll be better next year. The run game hasn't been what we used to seeing. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor can be fully healthy next year. The QB play was just very bad. It was very bad all over. They could just never get it figured out. Like I said before, they have three quarterbacks that play the same. One was just younger and mobile, but they all had the same tendencies. It just was very bad to watch. But this defense I give the defense all the credit. No kidding. Like this defense definitely played his heart out week in and week out, even without the leader in Shaquille Leonard, still happened to have a very solid defense. And it only affected them when the offense couldn't do anything and the defense had to stay on the field. That was the only time the defense gave up some points or looked like they were just out of it. It was because the offense just couldn't let up. There were moments when the defense put them in scoring position and the offense still couldn't do anything. So I can't discredit the defense this year. They went out there and got some talent in the offseason. They got a very good defensive coordinator, and he did his thing. We had our moments and our worries about Gus coming in here, talking about his past experiences with the Legion of Boom and everything. But I mean, his scheme and his discipline carrying over to Indianapolis definitely worked in his favor. He had his moments of success when he just held teams, and of course they got burnt at the end, but during their stride, like every first half, I would say they came out on fire every game. There was no question about the defense this year at all, so we can't give any blame on them. Special teams been iffy, but they finally found their kicker. Hopefully we can bring him back next year as well. Bubba Patron, hopefully we can bring him back. Good coach. Like I said, if we can keep Gus and Bubba, I will be totally fine, but we still have to figure everything else out. But going into this game, we're going up against one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're our best friends in the NFL draft. But we're right next to each other. We're going to be butt buddies on the couch waiting for the draft to happen. But hopefully, we can win this game. It doesn't mess up our placement in any way. So, both teams are going to be looking for a quarterback regardless. There's 4 QBs available. So whichever one falls, we'll just pick them up. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we'll get more on who we're evaluating and who we're really going to target. The target right now is Will Levis, but it can change at any moment. It's the Colts. They're used to changing at the last minute, as you can see from this year. But Jeff Saturday experience was definitely a roller coaster as well. Got his first dub when he first got in, but then it's just been downhill ever since then. He never was really the answer at head coach. Like I say, he is the intern, so he had his moments, but he definitely still has a lot to learn. And this is just a bump in the road for him. Hopefully, this is a learning experience and a learning curve that he can take moving forward. If he wants to continue to coach, maybe he might go, down to college, or might become a coordinator or somewhere else, or fill another position in Indy and on the coaching staff. But hey, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit for him. I mean, he was never really destined to be the coach for this team anyway. This was just a learning curve, and the Colts did what they had to do. I mean, he is in the Ring of Honor. He is a legend in Indianapolis. So, I mean, I guess you can look at it that way. But of course, like I said, there was plenty of coaches that could have got promoted from in our own office that could have got promoted as head coach. But they did what they did with Saturday, and they took the bump for that. So hopefully, this is a wake up call for them to go out there and get a real coaching staff. Let the coach control what he controls, get the talent, get his own staff, and hopefully next year to be a better year. If not, we're going to be going through this carousel all over again with a rookie QB. So, we have a lot of positivity and expectations going for the Colts going into next year. So, with a franchise QB, if we can go out there, find a good coaching staff, and we can just build from there, I think that's when we can actually start the dynasty up again. So we got a lot of expectations going into this offseason, and a lot of things got to happen, and it has to happen quick. But for this Texans game, I definitely think it's winnable. We do not have to have the best offense to go out there and score at least 6 points. This is going to be a low-scoring game, but I do think the Colts can favor and actually go out there and win. Michael Pittman Jr. can have himself a decent game, and the run game can still, do what they got to do. But for the Texans' sake, they're going through that quarterback carousel as well. They don't have their guy out there, but our defense is a little bit better than theirs in my opinion, honestly. So I do think our defense can hold the Texans for to at least like maybe 6 to 10 points. So I do think the Colts can win. I don't know what the spread is going to be. It's going to be a very low scoring game, like I said, but I do think if it comes down to anything like a field goal or something, I do think the Colts can pull it off. A lot of people might say which team is tanking more, but I don't think tanking's involved in this scenario. I think both teams have just played bad this year, but I do think the Colts have a little bit more grit than the Texans. So I do think the Colts can win this game. I'm going to go with them to win. Houston Texans definitely have their spot secured in the draft. They know who they want. I'm pretty sure we all know who they're going to get. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts about the game in the comment section. Who do you think we're going to get? Let me know your thoughts about the season. Who you want as a coach. Who you want out of the draft at QB. All these things in the comment section. Let me know your score predictions as well. This is Marcus, and until next time, you've been Culture Shock.